Hello, my name is Nikki. Welcome to the first lesson on HTML here on CodingTuts. Before we begin, you will need a text editor like the one I'm using now, which is Visual Studio Code. You can either use this one or any other text editor that you're comfortable with, such as brackets, Sublime Code. It doesn't matter, either one is perfectly fine. The first thing you're going to do is to create a new page, new file, or Command N. And you're going to save this to any name you like and then .html. I'm not going to create a new page since I've already created one. So whichever page you save, you'll see it in your Finder. I save my website HTML and CodingTuts and an HTML lesson, and here's my website HTML. Okay, it's like when you save any other files at all. So when you open it, you'll see it in your browser. So this is the content that I put in my text editor so far. And when you save it, your work will show up in your browser. For this lesson, all you need is a text editor and access to your HTML page. With that being said, let's get started. What I have here is all the HTML tags we'll be using most of the time when we build websites. Here you have the doctype HTML. This tag tells the browser what version of HTML we will be using. We will be using HTML5, which is the latest version. And another type of doctype tag would be the tag without the HTML, doctype, for HTML again. HTML4 or earlier uses the doctype with or without the HTML, either one. But the latest version of HTML, which is HTML5, it only uses the doctype with the HTML in there. Also. And the HTML tags would let the browser know that this is HTML. Otherwise, the document will display properly without these HTML tags. Now here you have body tags. Body is where all the content of a website is placed, such as the heading, the paragraph, the lists, button, or link, anything that is the content of a website. Here I have H1 and H2. The H stands for both headings. The 1 and 2 represents the size of the headings. For example, here I have H1 as my first website, and this is the H2, the subheading. The higher the number, the lower the heading. The higher the number, the smaller the heading will be. P stands for paragraph. Paragraph, it would be the size, the regular body size, so that you can write paragraph. And here you have lists. We will be writing lists most of the time. If we want to build something that looks similar to social media, such as the comment section, messages, as you write comments, it'll fill that list again and again. We'll start off with to-do list in a later tutorial. So these here are unordered lists, the UL tags, and these are the order lists, the OL tags. Here is the button tags. Button is going to look like a button. Click me. And here you have the A tags, which is a link. Click me. Now it doesn't look like a link since I only put the A in there, which stands for anchor. We put anchor because Because let's say you type up a list of paragraphs on a page, and on the bottom of this page you see back to top. Once you click on there, it anchors you back to the top of the page. That's why we use anchor as a link. Href. Oh, I should write the whole website address, otherwise it won't work. Now, after I type href, which stands for hyperlink reference, it'll now look like a link. It will now work. I don't know what's going on. My file was not found. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now it works. Facebook.com. And if you want this link to open up in a new tab, I would write into the start tag target _ blank. Here we go, new tab. So the href and the target, these have names to it, and these are called attributes. These are the attributes, and these are its values. And it must always be placed in the start tag. I will teach more in depth about elements and attributes and values in the next video. Take care. So, in the last video, I've defined the meaning of attributes and values on the A tag. Now I'll explain other attributes that can be used on other tags, as known as elements, which are these HTML tags. So what I'm going to do here is write a head tag first. The head tag, meta. I'll explain what that is in a second. Meta, now this attribute character set would tell the browser which character encoding you'll use for your HTML document. The default is UTF-8, which stands for 8-bit Unicode Transformation Format. If you would like to learn more about HTML character sets, you can visit this website here. And this document will tell you all the character sets you can use for your HTML documents in any version you would like to use. I'm gonna comment this out. Oh, and how I comment it out like that, I press Command / where the question mark is. I'm not going to need that since it's a default. Now I'm going to write meta. Okay, Meta can also be used for when you want your website to be searchable throughout search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, any one of those. So here I have description, contents. I'm going to say, I'll just say something for this website. So the description would show this content, meaning this content would be the description of the search link you're looking for. I'll show you, for example, like these words here would be the description. This would be the content of the description. But the title would mean the link, like the link would say my first website. Words. Now the keywords are what the user types in the search bar in order to look for your content. So the keywords would include website, beginner, I'll just use these two for now. So if your description includes the word website, beginner, or if your title includes it, then it'll come up in the search engine, keywords. What keywords will show up. The viewport would mean which width that the document would fit in, whether it's mobile, tablet, the size of your laptop, the size of your desktop computer, anything like that. It'll scale towards any devices. So this is why it's also important to have attributes in the start tags. Well, actually, start tags can only be used in Meta in their head section. This is another way to use attributes and values to support your HTML document. Okay. What I also want to share in the head section is using the title. Now the title is pretty easy. This will show up in the tab of your website. I'll show you in a second. Now when I refresh, there it is, my first website, and the title element in the head. Okay. There are also other attributes that I would like to share is the style attributes. Style. I would like to change the color of the H1. Let's go to blue violet. Purple's my favorite color. And I want to change this color to let's go with blue. Save that. See, the color is changed. You can do so many things with the style attribute. You can adjust the color. You can also change the font size. Font size, let's say 30 pixels. Font size could be changed. You could also add a border. Okay. And because there are so many ways to use a style attribute, you can visit w3schools.com. You can go to HTML styles, and you'll be provided a list from there. What I also want to explain about elements, since I've already defined what attributes are and its values and what it does towards a document, I also want to go into depth more on elements. I want to go over the types of elements. Typos. Types of elements are block elements and inline elements. It's not a red comma. Okay, now the types, the block elements. Block elements consist of H1 to H6, all the heading elements, the P elements, the div elements. I'll explain what div is in a second. Sure. Okay, and inline elements. They consist of a, the button, label, and UL, then the list items, li, ul, ol, stuff like that. So the block elements are elements that take up the whole page. Because notice that the border covers the whole page instead of just the subheading only, because it's a block element. If I were to change this H2 to a label, then the border would only cover the subheading because it's an inline element. Let's see, I like to put a border on OL. Okay, I was wrong, that's a block element. Sorry about that. And I'll see if that's a block element. How I know the difference between a block and inline elements is block elements take up the whole page and inline elements take up part of the page, only the contents. Let's see about li. Okay, that's also a block element. Okay, so all the lists are block elements. Sorry about that. Here's how the div tag works. The div tag is a block element that can hold one or many elements. For example, I put div. I want to wrap this in a div element or division, that's what it stands for. It's easier for me if I indent it. Command right bracket. I'll give it a style. Let's see. Let's put a background color of oh, I like this one. So this is a whole div that I put the background color on. It's a section of the document that you want to edit, that you want to put in a specific block. I like to give this a style too. I want to put a style on multiple elements. Use div span. What span does is if you want to change a portion of the contents. There you have page 2. Now, if I want to change the style of just the computer whiz content, I would type span, which is also an inline element. And I can put style, just make this smaller size, font size, let's go 12. Not small. So that's what the span does. Span takes up a portion of any elements, and you could change the style toward it, changes function towards it. You could change anything towards that specific content. And the last thing I want to go over are the HTML5 elements. Sorry. They consist of section, article, side, footer, and header. Header, section, article, aside, footer. It should be in order depending on which layout you want for your website. It's not in a restricted order. I'll explain more on that in the next video. Take care. Bye. Hello and welcome back to CodingTuts. In the last video, I've introduced these HTML5 elements, which are called semantic elements. But before we dive into that, I would like to go over the class and ID attributes. These attributes gives these elements a name in HTML, only the name. And it is used for CSS to give these elements a style. With that being said, I'll introduce you to CSS, which will show you the purpose of these attributes, which is up here in the style tag in the head section. The dot header means class header, class nav, class main, and so on. So here is what the typical website will look like. You have all these classes of header, nav, You have the section, which is a red section, and the article, the pink section, the aside, and the footer. Now here in the CSS, I gave it a background color, I gave it a height of 80 pixels. If I were to give it a height of 0 pixels, then it wouldn't exist. So no header. And the width, 70%. 70% means it's taken up 70% of the web page. Main is the light blue part, 70%. 30% of the page, which is under a side with 30%. And they both have a height of 400 pixels, as you can see. And for the main and aside, I gave it both of floats. Now, what float means is that the block element only floats to the left of the page without the margin taking up the rest of the page. Same thing as aside, float right, which means it takes up only the right side of the page. So, for example, without this float left here, and without this clear both, let's save that. Notice the main block. Notice this block div pushes this aside down to the page. It's because the margin is taking up the rest of the page here. The orange part to the right is the margin, which pushes down this aside here. So this is why I put float left. The way it evens out. Now the reason why the footer is gone is because it's under both of these floating elements. So it's floating over the footer. And in order for that to show up, I put clear both, which means clear both sides of the elements, so that nothing goes over it. I can see. There we go. Okay, and I also have padding and margin. So padding is room around the contents. This content, which is a paragraph and the header, and margin would be space outside the border. It's easy for me to show you in the inspector. Let's see. Okay, here's the diagram. So here you have the contents. Let's say these are the text, the about me and the lorem ipsum text. And around that would be the padding, the spacing around those texts. And the part around the padding is the border, and the space around the border is the margin. Margin, border, padding, content. Okay, so if you ever need a reference for these things, you have the diagram in your inspector. You right-click anywhere on the web page, go to Inspect, make sure you're under Elements, and you scroll down here to your right side. Here I'm using the actual semantics of the most up-to-date HTML. So here you have the header, nav, everyone will know what that is, the main section of the website, that's why it's called main, as you can see, main. And here you have section and article. I'll make life easier this way. I'll put section ID myself. It's usually easier to label different sections of your HTML document. Section ID. foreigners, for example. Did I spell foreigners? So this is what section basically means. It divides different information on your website. An article would be like different paragraphs of that section you're talking about, of that subject you're talking about. If you would like to learn more about semantics, you can visit the link on the bottom of the screen if you'd like to learn more about it. And in the next video, I will be touching up more on CSS. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to my tutorials of CSS Positioning. Here I have these blocks with the words of the CSS positions that you can possibly use: static, absolute, fixed, sticky, and relative. There is a styling of these blocks. Now instead of writing one ID name for each one, I have to write many CSS blocks like this. I can put all the ID names on one line. That way I don't have to write the same code over and over. So I'll start off with the static positioning. By default, the HTML elements are in static position. Static positioning moves along depending on the normal flow of the web content. Right now, all the blocks are in static position. So now I'll move on to absolute. I'll change the color to, let's do red. Position, absolute, goes to left, so, actually, let's do top set. So absolute means that the element would go to the top of the page by 0 pixels. 0 pixels. I could also change the positioning in the inspector. This is my selector for the elements. I pick absolute. There I have it here. Let's put a number 10 pixels. So position absolute top 10 pixels, meaning is 10 pixels from the top of the page. If I put left 20 pixels, I mean it's 10 pixels from the top and 20 pixels left to the page. This is absolute positioning. Now what I want to do is kind of spread this out. That way you can see it. That way you can see the static too. And you also have to put the changes in the code, otherwise when you refresh it, then it'll reset back to this setting of top 0. So you have to change this as well. Yeah, it stays. So whenever you want to change anything in the viewer, and you refresh, it'll reset back to the code you have in your editor. So you must always make sure you have those changes in your editor and save it. Otherwise you lose all those changes. Now I'll move on to fixed. Let's do the background color of, oh, I like this one. Position. Let's see what happens if I don't give it a top left. Okay, this is a fixed position. The fixed position follows along with the user scrolling of the page. I want you guys to see more of the scrolling effect. So I'm putting more boxes. Okay. So now that I've put more boxes, you can see the fixed position remaining in place, but it's keeping the positions that you've added in the editor. And that is a fixed position. So that's the fixed position. Now I'll go over sticky. Oops. Let's just say purple. I'll put one of these boxes. Because it's a scrollable position. I believe that's to give it a top 0 pixels. So sticky means like as you scroll and this top here touches this, it will be in a fixed position. When the box scrolls up, it'll stick back to its original position. And that's sticky. If I put anything over 0 pixels, when this top reaches the position of sticky, it'll give 20 pixels of room above the box. Okay, and that's sticky. Now, last but not least, relative. Let's go with green. So top. So, hold on. Let me get rid of this. I won't be distracted. Step 2. So position relative means you're moving the position from its original place. So here I have relative type 0 pixels, and if I put, let's say, 40 pixels, it moves 40 pixels from its original location. Okay. Let's see, 40. Always make changes to the editor. Okay, and that is relative. You can also position elements using margins as well. To do that, I will comment these out. Okay, and I would like to let's do margin left, so I only want the margin on the left. Just 100 pixels. So here I have, this is the element of absolute, and as you can see, you see the margin taking up the whole page. Since it's a block, it's a div element, and I put extra margin on the left side of absolute. If you're building a website and you like to move positions to the left, if you like to indent anything, use margin left. Because if you put position relative left, then the whole div will push over, more over to the right, and you'll have a scroll on the bottom. I will show you that right now. So let's say I have position relative left 100 pixels. Okay, there we go. So if the content goes over the page, goes over to the right side of the page, then you will have a scrolling effect. Now let's see what happens if I put margin left. This 1,000 is too much. Okay, so as long as the content bleeds out on the right page, you'll get a scroll on the bottom. Just like how content bleeds out on the bottom of the page, you'll get a scroll. Okay, so if you don't want that, if you want to do indenting anything, you just decrease this. Pixels. Okay, that you also have to look out for. Another thing I'm going to go over is a separate CSS page and linking that to the HTML page. So I'll do that right now. Save this as CSS. What I'll do is cut this out. Now here's how you link this HTML page to this CSS page. You put link relative rel style sheet href, and you put in the file location of it, which is CSS Positions CSS. Okay, I'll make sure that that's where it is. Okay, so it's in the same folder as the CSS Positioning HTML. So I put current folder and then the file name. Okay, there we go. Okay, and that is it for CSS Positioning and the extension page. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye. Hello, welcome back to CodingTuts. Today I will go over the navigation bar. But before we dive into this lesson, I would like to go over what I've explained in the last video, which is CSS positioning, static, sticky, relative, absolute, fixed. And we've also gone over semantics in the HTML5 semantics video, where the header is supposed to be the nav, the side, section, main, footer, and all that. Now, anything could be placed inside the header, inside a side, footer, and section and main elements. But the nav only requires links like home, about, contact us, any other page that belongs within the website. So I will show you how to insert these links into the nav and require positioning that belongs in the nav bar as well to make it look like an appropriate navigation bar. So with that being said, let's get started. Oops. Okay, what I'm going to do first is make a copy of this. Command A. Save this as add include. You can name this anything you want. .html. I'll put that in the folder. I'll save this for now. Okay, so in this nav, we'll create an unordered list. Home. Oops. Alright. contacts. Let's put gallery. Blog. Okay, it's not exactly within a nav, so I'll fix that. Go to my semantics, CSS. Oh, was I just there? Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. So this is what height auto is. Height auto is the height depending on how much content that you put into this div here. And these margins I do not want on my page either, so to get rid of it, what I'm going to do is put body margin none. Let's look at my inspector. It shows me where these margins are going to be. That's the main, nav,
It's the URL.
Why is there so much space? Oh, that's the problem. Okay. You see where these, hold on. You see where these orange things are around the list? This is why there's space on the top and the bottom of the list. So I go to, I type in URL. I actually want to put it where the nav is. URL. Margin 0. There we go. Okay, I also want to get rid of those dots because I don't think it'll look right in the navigation bar. So I'm going to put li because it's on a list item. And I'm going to put list style type none. Now right now it's showing vertically. I want those links to show horizontally, like what the normal navigation bar will look like. So what I'm going to do is display it. There we go. Yeah, so in order for each of these li elements to display horizontally, put any li display inline. I would also like to turn these into links. So now for me to do that, I put a, put this element to this link element, href, Alright. I also want to put a padding around the li. It looks too close up there. Let's see, li, padding. Let's see what 10 looks like. Why is this so slow? Okay, let's try closing this and open it up again. Okay, there we go. So there's a padding around the LI. Why isn't that up here? Let's go to my inspector. Any problems you run into, always go to the inspector. That's your friend. Okay, I see the green part, the padding around the LI, but it's not actually showing up in the div. I'll try put a padding in UL. No margin. Padding. There you go. So if you give the LI a padding, it will give a padding in between these links, and if you give the UL a padding, it'll give padding all around the links together, therefore giving padding top and bottom as well. Oops. Okay, and see if these work. Pay attention to the address bar. This is going to change as I click on this. Contact, blog, gallery, about. Okay. I put these hashtags here to see if they'll work. I'm going to create the pages now. The about, gallery, blog, content. Say this as okay, and now I will link this to quotes, HTML. And I'm also going to link this to this current page, which is nav_included HTML. I should put this in these other pages too. Otherwise, these links will only work in this home page only. Let's stick this in here. Okay, refresh. Oh. See, my changes aren't saved because whatever changes I made in the inspector, I didn't include it in my text editor. So I give this a padding, pixels. See, even when you're teaching this, you will make small mistakes as well, but that's okay. Okay, now it's refreshed. So, there we go. Now I'm at the About page, Gallery, Blog, Contact. Now these pages don't have the style because I didn't link the style in any of these pages, as you can see. Okay, now that I'm on this page. Okay, there we go. If you would like to get rid of the underline on the A tag or link, type A. Text decoration. Text decoration, none. And if you would like to center the text, the links, you can use text align center. Didn't work. Okay. Inspect. Okay, I'll try that new one. Text align center. There we go. You can also do right. I think the right looks better. Yeah. Actually belongs in the URL. You could also color your links if you want to. Either in the UL or LI, doesn't matter. Let's make this the complementary of the yellow, purple. Oh, it's already purple. Let's give it a color of red. Okay. Let's try then the link. There we go. Oops. Alright. You could also change the color of when the link is hovered over by the cursor. To do that, you type A:hover. Space below. Okay, so now that I've taught you how to create a navbar and to design a navbar with the positions and its stylings, I will now create a drop-down nav. You can also do that too. But in a mobile setting, you have to use a drop-down. So I can close these. Let us comment these out. In order to make a drop-down, you start off with a tag select option. Now within these select tags, the select means you select from the whole list, and option meaning you pick whichever option you want. So let's say home, option, about,
Let's fast forward it up.
option, contacts. Okay, let's see. Here it is, home, about, gallery, about, contents, and the drop down. Now I want to change the styling of the drop down. So from there, change the font size. Font size Oh, too big. There we go. And I want a background color transparent, meaning no color. There we go. I want to get rid of the border. It don't look good to me. There we go. Formal bell, Kelly block context. To create navigation links and dropdowns, here's how you do it. Make sure you have a value. In the value, you put the page where you want to direct this link to. And in the select, you add onChange location equals this dot value. I will explain more in JavaScript in a later tutorial. Okay, refresh. And there you have it. That is it for my lesson on navigation links, the bar, and the dropdown. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to add it in the comment section below. I would really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my video so far. I will see you in the next tutorial. Have a great day.